Hello and welcome to episode 294 of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at DynastyDadFF. This is that time of year where we're all talking rookie fever. We're talking about startups. Tonight, what we're going to cover is we're going to cover trades. Snoogs and I have really been bringing you guys all kinds of rookie content to help you guys get educated on your trades. Tonight's show is going to be a little bit different. So, without further ado, obviously, nobody better to chop it up with them. My man, Snoog, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, and we got Brock in the house, so I'm excited for some trades. I've been making tons of trades in my Dynasty leagues already, so it's that time of the year. Rookie draft season's rolling around. It's time to make some trades, get your teams right for the offseason, and get prepared for next year, because this is when Dynasty season starts, is when the NFL season ends.
In typical fashion, Snoop can't wait for me to introduce the next person. He gets all pumped up. Let's talk trades. Hey, tonight's show, we got Brock on. Brock's been killing it with the edits that you guys have been seeing on YouTube. If you guys do not follow us, make sure you guys hit that smash button to subscribe and follow us on YouTube as well as Apple and everything else that we're on. Brock, love all the work that you've been doing. Excited to chop it up and talk trades tonight, because that's really our bread and butter.
Hell yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And like Snoog said, the second best thing maybe after winning you a ring in the championship is going to be the offseason. This is the best part of Dynasty. This is where championship teams are won. It's where they're built. All the stuff that a lot of people really shy away from Dynasty, you kind of got to embrace it. So it starts right now with the rookie hype. We just got the end of the college football playoff there yesterday. So now eyes are forward. Now we got the combine next month, pro days after that. And next thing you know, it's going to be April. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so many fun little spots along the way where we're going to have values to make your trades, to trade your rookies, to trade your vets. And that's why what we do here at Smash Accept is really separates ourselves from other people. So what we're looking at doing right now is Brock's going to kind of be the MC. We're going to flash up some trades that you guys have sent in, guys that are in the Patreon. Again, right now, the best place to get all of your information is in that Smash Accept Patreon. We are literally pumping out content every single day. We are putting all of our rookie rankings, all of our startup rankings, pretty much everything you need is in there, and a community all to itself. I mean, right now we're up to, 530 plus members talking shop all the time. A lot of you guys are talking about, Dad, I want to get in a startup. How can I get in Smash Accept 17? That's really tough to get into, but these guys in here, they're sharp. They're starting up their own startups every single day, and it's just been cool to watch, because if you want to be in a league, right, you don't want to be in a league with a couple of your friends who have never played Dynasty before. You want to get in there with other sharps like these guys. That's what you got to do. Join that again, patreon.com/Smash Accept. Brock, I'm going to turn it over to you with the trade first.
Yeah, let's go ahead and kick things off. So the first trade we're looking at is going to be from Jonathan Puetz. I hope I'm saying that right. One side's going to be Josh Allen in the 302. Other side's going to be Dak Prescott, the 104, the 111, and the 205. Snoog, what do you think we're doing here with this one?
I am absolutely smashing the Josh Allen side. I'm bringing out the cowbell for this one, because bring it out.
Let's go.
Bring it out. Josh Allen is the best fantasy football player we've ever watched. He is the most dominant superflex player you can own. He's untradeable if I have him. To me, it's like, okay, I'm getting a third round early rookie pick on top. I'd do it for Josh Allen straight up. It's just a cherry on top for me. That, like, when I'm looking at this trade, the third does nothing. The 205 really does nothing to me. It's Josh Allen, 2 firsts, and Dak. That's how I'm looking at it. You move back, 9-10 spots from 205 to 302, but Josh Allen compared to a guy like Dak coming off a season-ending leg injury that was devastating. I mean, he tore his whole hamstring off the bone. He's like 32 years old, 33 years old now, losing value, even though I think he's a good buy for a veteran. I mean, 104 and 111 in this class it's not 2024. It's not 2020. It's not 2021. It'll be a good player. You'll have a good chance at a guy that, like maybe RB2 in this class, or maybe Emeka Egbuka, one of those guys, or maybe Cam Ward, someone along those lines. But Josh Allen is the 101 in Superflex for me. No-brainer move. Dad, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Jonathan on this one in my DMs, and I was like, smash Josh Allen. Now, I say that Josh Allen is worth 3.5 to 4 firsts, and you see here, I mean, Dak is in that 108 range, the 104, the 111, and the 205 is, technically speaking, 3.5 firsts. However, none of them are elite. Like, if I'm giving up Josh Allen, the lowest I'm going down, if this was Drake May, I'd consider it, but it's Dak Prescott. Then I'm probably getting Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Warren, Cam Scatterbo, and that's just a bunch of guys that are going to fill in my roster. but it's nothing that Josh Allen's going to produce, So if you're not getting one of those elite running backs like Gibbs or Bijan, you're not getting Neighbors, you're not getting, a quarterback inside the top 8 to 10. I can't do this trade. It's just it's like 4 quarters don't always equal a dollar. And in this situation, give me the dollar.
And like Dak comes out, throws up 4,500 yards next year. He's he's still not cracking the top 10 to 12. Like people are going to be like, yeah, that's Dak. He's always going to keep losing value no matter how good he produces, just because of the age people out there in the dynasty community. Age is just a number, especially for the quarterback position, but people see that age going up and those injuries following like Dak has, then value starts to dip a little bit. So
yeah, quick question. What do you think would be the lowest quarterback that you would take back for that? Because like you said, even if Dak goes out, throws for 30 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, he's probably never going to crack that top 10, especially with another good class coming in 26 the year after. It's like, I don't know. You want to probably bank on someone in that one that you think can have the chance to even jump in value. Like Dad said, with a Drake May, someone that could find himself in that top 6, top 7 in startups as early as next year. So yeah, give me Josh Allen in that one all day. Going on to trade number 2, coming from Justin Womack. It's going to be a 12-team, and it's a 2.0 tight end premium. One side's going to be Tucker Kraft and the 208. Other side's going to be 111 and the 305. What do we think here, Dad?
Yeah, this one's a little bit trickier because, I mean, if I'm looking at that 2.0 tight end premium, I think Tyler Warren in a lot of, standard Superflex leagues is going to fall to 111. I think you're going to get Colston Loveland here, who I think is a better player than Tucker Kraft. I love these kind of moves in the offseason where you take a guy that you don't love, like a Tucker Kraft. And you're going to see a lot of these because a lot of these are from the Patreon, where I've pretty much taken the clay that they've given and I've just molded it into something that I like. But in this situation, I'm taking the 208, which is a very uncertain player in this year's draft, matching it up with Tucker Kraft, and I'm getting the 111 because I think Loveland. And if you get Warren, that's great. I don't think that's going to happen. Loveland in this area, I'm seeing a lot of drafts have Burden fall into here. I'm seeing a lot of drafts have Ibuka. I mean, right now, the top 15 in this class are juicy. So I want the 111. I don't care about the difference between the 208 and the 305. Even though it's 2 tight end premium, I think I'm going to get something I like much better than Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, I agree with Dad here. 111 all day, because even if I don't get Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland here, I'm still getting a top running back in a loaded draft class that would have probably been a top 10 to 10 to 12 pick last year. Just going over like people pushing up Brooks up the board, Corum, Benson, these type of guys. Like none of those guys would have even been top 10 in this draft class for me. Never mind the RB2. So just having that potential to land a top 10 to 12 dynasty running back at that 111 spot, or in a Mecca Ibuka or Luther Burden if Loveland and Warren go above. No brainer move. And I get the 305 on top, which is probably going to be a good dart throw in a stacked running back class.
Yeah, and Brock, before we move on to the next trade, I know a lot of you guys, I mean, the comment section is blowing up right now. We have a lot that we're trying to go over. Any super chat, we will jump right to the very beginning. I will make sure we get them in there. We will get to as many trades as possible. We're going to we have 11 that we have planned. We'll get to as many as we can in this particular situation, but just wanted to throw that out there. Brock, continue.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to trade number 3. Shout out Evan Jenkins for sending this one in. So it's going to be a 12-team super flex. One side's going to be Justin Herbert, Zay Flowers, the 101. So he's got his eyes on Jancy, and a 27 first. And the other side, rookie breakout, Jaden Daniels, DeAndre Swift, Jacoby Myers, and then a 27 second and third. What do we think here, Snoog? It's a lot to digest.
I am smashing the Justin Herbert side, and I'm not thinking twice. I'm taking Justin Herbert and the 101 over Daniel straight up. So it's a Zay Flowers and a first for free, in my opinion, in this trade, because I'm taking that. I'm taking the first over Swift, Myers at a second. So it's literally a free Zay Flowers, in my opinion. What Jaden Daniels is doing is phenomenal, historical, best rookie quarterback of all time. He's never going to jump Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson for me. And Justin Herbert with a competent offensive weapon scheme, and they go get a T. Higgins, or they go get a Luther Burden or a Mecca Ibuka to pair with Lab McConkey, or they bring in an Amari and Hampton, Caleb Johnson, big bruising running back in the draft. Justin Herbert's a top 5 producing quarterback. We've seen that ceiling, right? Like we've seen him be the QB2 overall with 450 plus points. We've seen him be a top 5 guy. So if you could bring back that Herbert that we saw which we did see this year. He just didn't have the weapons, tons of drops, all that stuff, but they let him air the ball out. Then you're getting a guy that can be a little less of a producer than Daniels, and then you're getting a top 3 dynasty running back, a top 20, 24-ish dynasty wide receiver in Zay Flowers, another 27 first on top. Yeah, this is a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I think this is what that first guy wanted to do with Josh Allen, right? This is when you have a Jaden Daniels, and let me get this straight. I totally disagree that Herbert's anywhere close to Daniels, and I think you can obviously put Daniels over Lamar at this point. I have not, but I think those big 3 are in that same area value-wise. But this is taking a guy at his absolute ceiling, because Jaden Daniels can't go anywhere up higher than 1 through 3. No one can. That's the fun part. However, Justin Herbert is a solid top 12 quarterback. Like Snoog said, Zay Flowers is a top 24 wide receiver. Ashton Junty here, even if you don't like Ashton Junty, I think you could take Herbert and Junty and get yourself an elite level package. I mean, this is the type of move where if you're rebuilding and you took Jaden Daniels at 104, this totally changes your whole team. Because what it looks like to me is you're taking Daniels, you're polishing up a couple turd sandwiches in DeAndre Swift and Jacoby Myers, and you're like, you know what? Let's go get some nice pieces here. And that's how you win in Dynasty, right?
Yeah,
nobody wants DeAndre Swift. Nobody wants Jacoby Myers. And so many of you guys come to me and you're like, Dad, how do I trade Cooper Kupp? How do I trade Ramondre Stevenson? How do I trade DeAndre Swift? You polish them up and you put them with someone else and you disguise it like this. And I think, Evan, I think you smashed this trade. Herbert, Zay Flowers, 101 and that 27 first. You're going to win a championship very soon.
That's a smash move right there.
Hell yeah. So moving on here to trade number 4. It's coming from War Room Capital from the Patreon. So it's going to be a super flex. Shout out the people in the Patreon. It's going to be a super flex 105 or the 207 and 26 first. Assuming competing, it's his first, probably going to be late. So we'll say 105 or the 207 and the 26 late first. Dad, what do we think here?
Yeah, so I love this one because he came to me and he's like, Snoog does not agree with your take here, Dad. And, this is where iron sharpens iron. We're going to discuss this one. We're going to hash it out. But for me, $1 today is worth more than $1 next year. We're talking about a 105 pick. I'm going to get, if I want a quarterback, I'm going to get him. But I am making sure that I'm going to get Travion Henderson or Caleb Johnson or, a guy that's going to go somewhere to an elite level spot. I mean, we saw in our pod that we did with Dane Brugler where Travion Henderson went to the Cowboys, and that's the 105. I will take that all day over a 27 first or a 26 first and the 207, and I think really depends on what you're going. If this was middle 26 first, because a lot of times people just say middle, but middle could be early, I would consider it. But since he's competing, I want that 105 all day because I feel like I could sell it for a pair of 26 firsts in season.
Okay, Snoog, here's my perspective from it. Let me hear if you think this is a competing team. Justin Herbert, Tyrone Tracy, Tank Bigsby, George Pickens, Devontae Smith, Chris Olave, Trey McBride, Quentin Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, and Caleb Williams. To me, I look at that team, that's a top 5 team next year. I don't know what if there's a chance that if it could be 101 with the lottery systems. He does have 101 and 106 already, so he's already invested into this draft class. To me, it's get Junty, maybe get an RB, get Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshot, whoever it is that goes as that RB2 or RB3 spot in this class. Get your 2 running backs, and then to me, still this team's not contending. It's a pretender, if anything. So I think from my perspective, I'm keeping my own first with the luxury of if my team stinks, I can flip TJ Hawkinson and George Pickens and get the 102 next year, which could be better than the 102 this year, which probably will be, honestly. The next year's class is going to have some quarterbacks that are a lot better than this year's. Maybe a couple running backs like Nick Singleton, Jeremiah Love. I think that the better way to approach this is build through 101 and 106, keep your own first, and sell off the Tyrone Tracy's and Tank Bigsby's before the draft comes and they get absolutely destroyed from a Quinshot Judkins or a Caleb Johnson or someone of that nature. And I'm trying to get that top 5 first next year and build through this class and next class and then go all in on the year after. Or what I do is take this trade, flip the 101 and go get 2 contending pieces like a Breece Hall plus or a Devon A. Chain and a first, or like trade like that where I can kind of tear back and turn this into a contending team. Because, I mean, you can turn this into a contending team for sure, but today it's not a contending team. So that was my perspective on it.
You know what I love about this is we're both, neither of us are wrong. We're going about it from different angles. For me, I'm making this trade, and I think I'm going to get, I'm going to get 2 firsts out of this on draft day, right? I feel like just because the 105 is going to ascend, because you're going to have Junty. He's already getting him. Ted McMillan's going to go 2. You're going to get 2 quarterbacks.
Perspective.
And your Travion Henderson or Luther Burden goes to the right spot, or one of these guys, people are going to get that rookie fever, and you're going to end up getting 112 in the 26 first. And it could pan out, it might not, but these are both sides.
You gamble.
Brock,
take it.
Yeah, no, it's a gamble, but I mean, I when we were talking the team over, I think once you add Junty and you add the 106, I think there's a lot of opportunity. He has the 105 and 106 to really play with, to turn this into a team that goes from that 108, like probably 108 pick to possibly up towards the top. So, Brock, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Dad here. I want the 105. I want to have fun in this rookie draft. You said he already had the 101 and 106 too?
Yeah.
So now that's 3 top 6 picks. Like you said, you don't even have to stick and make all those picks. You could trade them for maybe a 26 first next year, halfway through the season. That can be even earlier than your late pick if it does end up being late. So, yeah, I think just take 105, hammer those running backs, because we can't be rolling out Tyrone Tracy and Tank Bigsby and say we're competing.
This
is what's fun about Dynasty, right? It's like Snoog and I both 4 to 5x our money, but we do it in different ways. You know what I mean? And it's like being able to digest things like this. That's why I love having you on here, Brock, because it's like normally I'm just sitting here talking, then I go, what do you think, Snoog? Now we both get time to sit there and digest these trades, just like this next one from the Patreon.
It's very rare, but sometimes I do get that DM like, interesting. Dad said something different. And like, then it's like, okay, like, do I got to get the boxing gloves on with Dad?
Dude, like 95% of the time they're like, Dad said the same thing. Snoog said the same thing. But when they pin us against each other, it's like mom versus dad. You're like, all right, let's not calling you the mom, Snoog. You're not the Dynasty mom.
Yeah.
Go ahead, boss.
Yep. So trade 5 here is going to be from JD Skyora, also from the Patreon. Appreciate you, JD. It's going to be a 12-team super flex. One side's going to be Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So you got the stack there. Also with Kate Otten. Other side's going to be Bo Nix, Devontae Smith, and Sam Laporta. And this is a 0.5 tight end premium. Snoog, which side are we thinking here?
I struggled with this one. In the 0.5 or 0.5 tight end premium, yes, it's good. But to me, it's like Amon-Ra, Laporta is not like a knock your socks off type of player to me, where it's worth going from Devontae Smith to Amon-Ra. And to me, Goff and Nix are so wishy-washy. Like they're like back to back in my rankings. So I think I got to go with the Amon-Ra Goff stack here. And I like Otten. I think Otten's a good dynasty tight end piece to own, and he's young and he's good. Laporta, especially with Ben Johnson leaving and that crowded offense, I just don't think Laporta's ever more than like a tight end 5 or a tight end 6 or a tight end 4 or whatever. Like he'll never be McBride or Bowers putting up 350 fantasy points. Like he doesn't have that ceiling unless Amon-Ra goes down with an injury or Jameson Williams and Gibbs get hurt. Like there's 2 inches that needs to happen. As much as I love Devontae Smith, the gap between him and Amon-Ra is at least like a 105 to me, maybe 106, and Laporta's not worth that. So I'm going to lean with Goff and Amon-Ra here.
Yeah, see, I looked at this a little bit differently. One thing you've got to understand when it comes to dynasty trades, and so many of you guys send them in, you're like this or that. Sometimes it's neither. So for me in this particular situation is right now he's sitting there with Goff and Amon-Ra. And I'm like, you have a solid nucleus there, right? You have that stack. Amon-Ra's the top 5 wide receiver. Jared Goff's one of the most undervalued and underrated dynasty assets there is. And Kate Otten, let's be honest, when Mike Evans was out, he looked good, but he's just not him. So now I'm like, okay, if I go from Goff to Nix, that's a pretty fair wash. But like Snoog said, I mean, Devonta Smith has lost some value. If this is 0.75 tight end premium, I think I'm going to go Laporta. But I think in this particular situation, I said, let's try to, if you can get a 27 first instead of Otten, I'm going to smash Goff and Amon-Ra. That's the side I want. If you can get, honestly, Nix, Devonta, Laporta, and you throw me a Kamara, or you throw me a Mixon, or you throw me something worth a second, then I think it sways it. But it doesn't have to be this or that. So many of you guys come to me in the Patreon and on the Discord and on Twitter, and I'm like, this isn't quite it. It doesn't have to be this or that. Let's rehash this and let's add a little bit to one side or the other because this isn't quite it.
Yep. So I think we have a super chat here, Dad, from Yang. It's going to be one side, Jaden Daniels, other side, May and JSN. So is JSN enough to kind of bridge that gap, Snoog?
It's not. And I think if you told me in 2 years that this ended up being a trade that was the Drake May and Jackson Smith and Jigba side winning, I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, market value is way on the Daniels side. It's not a move I'm making. If I'm selling Jaden Daniels right now, it's for like a haul like that Herbert deal we got, or it's for Lamar or Josh Allen, or maybe like Joe Burrow in a second type deal. But he's just on a different level right now. Does his game and his longevity last? I don't know. It's just one of those things you just ride and have fun with it because he is absolutely dominating in the NFL right now.
I think the difference between Daniels and May is probably more like Puka Nacua or Brian Thomas Jr. at this point, and I think if you're rebuilding here, if you can get May and JSN and then you do what I love
like
to do,
27 first,
27 1-2 flop, you know what I mean? Where you give your 27 second, get his 27 first or move into that area. I would buy Jaden Daniels for this if it was, because so many of my teams right now, I took May at like 106, 107, and JSN because of the way the dynasty structure is gone is my wide receiver 6 in a lot of teams or wide receiver 5. Then it's like, all right, I'm ready to push the chips in and go all in. Yang, reach out to either of us in our DMs if you need any further information. We love breaking these down. We love doing the super chats, but sometimes a little bit more context would be good. I mean, if this is a 4-point passing, it's Daniels by a mile. If it's 6-point, it's a little bit closer. But for me and Snoog, it sounds like we're both still leaning on that Jaden Daniels side.
Yep. Appreciate that, Yang. Next trade is going to be from Ryan Calhoun, also coming here from the Patreon. It's going to be a 12-team super flex. So this one's a little bit interesting. So it's going to be on one side, the 111 and the 112, or is going to be one pick between the 101 and 105. It's going to be a lottery. So are we taking the one early first, or are we taking the 2 late firsts?
I'm
smashing.
I'm gambling.
Because right now I would trade the 111 and the 112 for the 105. I think anything better than that, you're going to win. And you have a 20% chance of that being Ashton Junty. And a lot of you guys run these kind of lottery systems, which to me feels more like, just putting all the eggs in one basket as just, I like to commit to a rebuild to get the 101. I would be so pissed off if I got the 105 instead of the 101 after tanking. So I understand that that's a lot of teams, they try to avoid the tank because of that. But for me, I mean, you talk about at worst, I'm getting Travion Henderson or Caleb Johnson. At best, I'm getting Ashton Junty for right now the 111 and 112, a pair of tight ends or a Dylan Sampson and a Cam Scatterbo kind of deal. Like I want that lottery pick all day. Yeah.
I'm gambling. I'm hitting right there. I'm hitting when I shouldn't.
And one thing I'm working on for a lot of you guys in the Discord is I'm trying to come up with a value equivalent chart. I do that for all the positional guys. So you say Zay Flowers is worth the 107 or, Sam Laporta is worth the 105, depending on what the settings are. I'm trying to work on a chart that tells you this rookie pick plus this rookie pick equals this. And for me, the 11 and 12 are going to get you maybe to 106 this year. You know what I mean? Because I think that top 6 is juicy.
All right, kicking it over here to trade number 7, coming from Fernando, also from the Patreon. Appreciate you, Fernando. So it's going to be Josh Jacobs or the 108, straight up 1-for-1. What do we think, Snoog?
Yeah, he actually asked me this. I'm going to go with the 108 here. I just think there's 0 chance it loses value. It's only gaining value. There is a chance Josh Jacobs can somehow lose value going into next year. I don't know what that's going to look like. They used Emmanuel Wilson a lot. Maybe they bring in a Devin Neal because Marshawn Lloyd didn't work out, or one of these dynamic pass catchers on day 2 or early day 3. But the 108, like Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, whatever it is, I just would rather have that luxury because I know I can take that 108 and get probably a better player than Josh Jacobs on draft day with that pick if I want to trade it. So I think you got to go with the liquid asset there.
On this one, it really depends. If I'm contending, I will pay the 108,
close.
right? I have Josh Jacobs right now as my He's my Dynasty RB10. He finished the season on a tear. Like, he was on fire. Like, it was 7 straight games in the RB1 category. I will pay the 108 for him rather than risk where we're at with hoping Judkins or one of those guys land in the right spot. If I'm rebuilding, yeah, I want the 108. And I think if I could get the 108 and then you throw me a wide receiver that's going to be in that area. What I'm more excited about is the second part of this question, because I love a 2-part. He said wanted to see the difference to move off Mahomes to Caleb Williams with the Ben Johnson news. We just talked about mid first. You give me 105 and Caleb Williams, and I'm getting rid of Patrick Mahomes. I know we talked about it on the last show where Mahomes could be a value, but man, I'm taking this.
I moved Caleb Williams to my Dynasty QB8 after the Ben Johnson news, and people can act like it's overreaction. All this, he is probably one of top 3 offensive minded coaches in the NFL. He's going to build a scheme and an offense completely around Caleb Williams. If you look at Ben Johnson's offense with the Lions before Jahmyr Gibbs, before Jameson Williams, before Sam Laporta, they were top 5 in every single category on an offense with Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift. So literally the ham and egg version of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and they didn't have Jameson Williams or Sam Laporta, and they were a top 5 offense across the board. So to me, Ben Johnson comes in, has elite weapons immediately. He has some type of scheme and fit in mind. He clearly chose this because they already had their franchise QB, sees what he knows, and Caleb Williams played in the same division as Caleb Williams, probably has a ton of film on him, knows the player well. I think it's going to work. People say it doesn't work scheme fit, but Caleb Williams is going to turn and become a Ben Johnson merchant. By that, things are going to be easy. Plays are going to be schemed up for him. He's going to be able to still be an elite playmaker that Jared Goff couldn't be off platform when the play shuts down. But he's also going to have an offense scripted around him to make things easy for him. So I think that he is going to finally hit his stride, whether it's this year or next year. With this team, they have the 10th overall pick. I'm all in on Caleb Williams, and I think you got to take him over like the Jordan Love, C.J. Stroud, and Drake Mays now at this point, just because of weapons and coaching staff built around him, because he was already a guy that we are taking over those guys before he even played a damn snap. Now he finally has that elite offensive coach there with him to support him, so I'm all in.
I'm kicking the tires because there's so many teams that they were so scorned by Caleb Williams. They took him 101. They saw Jaden Daniels dominate. They saw Malik Neighbors. They saw all these guys, and you're like, a lot of teams might just bail, And I'm with you. I like him over Jordan Love now. I like him over, CJ Stroud. I think you got to be in that area. What do you think, Brock?
Yeah, I'm loving this news. I don't know if anybody else saw the presser, not even a presser. He was walking in with Ryan Poles in a room with a bunch of Bears staff, just pretty much just riling him up, saying, I know this division. This is where I wanted to be. Like you said, Snoog, there's one side to look at it and saying, okay, yeah, a lot of stuff with Goff was more in structure. Caleb Williams doesn't kind of play like that. That could be a good thing. This could even open up stuff more in Ben Johnson's playbook that we weren't able to see because the Lions had Jared Goff. So I think there's a lot to be unseen here. I really love the supporting cast. I mean, one part of it is, Mahomes is the falling asset. Caleb's obviously the rising asset. You don't want to, sell low off Mahomes, but at the end of the day, I kind of want the shiny new toy. I want to see what Caleb's going to do in this offense. I'm really excited about that. Like you said, if I'm getting a mid-first on top, smash accept all day on that side. All right, so moving on here, another one from the Patreon. It's going to be from Ryan Nolan. Another 12-team super flex. One side's going to be Jordan Love and A.J. Brown. Other side, got a package here. Anthony Richardson, Chuba Hubbard, 26 first, the 207 this year, and a 26 third. Snoog, what do we think here?
I'm smashing Jordan Love's side easily, like 10 times out of 10 here. A.J. Brown very comfortably above Chuba Hubbard by at least probably 2 mid to early seconds for me, and Jordan Love over AR in a first. AR is a very big gamble. I still like buying into him low if I can get him for like an early second or a late first, but to me, Jordan Love's a cemented top 10 dynasty quarterback. When they get weapons, real weapons around him, and they get that true number one, he's going to have like 4,000, 5,000 passing upside. Like, he's one of those guys that it's not like Stroud or one of these guys that it's like, he's not going to get his because the running back and the offense and that they have such a good offense built around him scheme wise that just lets him gunsling. He's going to throw picks, but he's going to be a gunslinger and have a ton of high upside and 6-point passing. So to me, it's just so much safety on that side. And you have the upside of A.J. Brown. If Jalen Hurts just figures it out and they get back on the same page next year, maybe with a new offensive coordinator, and he could be a 1,400 plus yard receiver again.
And this is a contending team, and this is what I really like about this is he
Yep.
came to me with this trade, and he's like, I want to get Love and AJ Brown. On the other side, before we started chiming in here, he had, instead of Anthony Richardson in the 207, it was Chuba 26 first and 102. And I said, no, we don't want to deal the 102. Let's hold on to that. So then we ended up getting Anthony Richardson in here, and it's like, all right, now we're at a spot. Now we're going to smash, right? There's a big difference between the original and trying to go through there, and then ends up coming out with a deal that just absolutely sexy. I love this move.
Yeah, that's a good one there. So kicking it off here with trade 9, also from the Patreon, Andrew Gravas. Appreciate it, Andrew. One side's going to be Ramondre in the 205, and the other side's going to be the 111. And second part here is that he also sold DeAndre Swift here in the last, 48 hours for 2 seconds, the 208 and 211 after the Ben Johnson news as well. So let's first start with the Ramondre and 205 for the 111. Which side are we taking there, Dad?
Yeah, so here's the cool thing. So Andrew is a commissioner in one of my leagues. Phenomenal guy. I lost this year, but I had won his league 3 years in a row. And he's like, I pitched the idea of, joining the Discord, and he jumped in there at first, and then he just wanted to say, shout out to both FF Snoog and Dynasty Dad. I went to both of these guys for exclusive service offers to get my teams going. Went to Snoog with the rebuild and went Dad with the team stuck in the middle. Both guys broke down my rosters, gave me detailed ideas on how to move forward with trade ideas, and they were spot on. I've made tons of moves, both of them already showing money well spent. Highly recommend their services. And this was the one where I was like, I had Ramondre Stevenson as one of my biggest sells. And this is, again, where I think the Patriots could bring in another running back. You take Ramondre in the 205, 2 assets that are very uncertain to get to 111. You tell me you're going to get Warren or Judkins or, a running back in this situation. I think you're going to absolutely smash. And then he's like, Dad, I don't know what to do with DeAndre Swift. Like, you told me to get rid of him. All of a sudden, Ben Johnson news hits. I go sell him for a pair of 2s. Next thing you know, less than 20 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, I got the 208 and 211. Boom. There's a lot of rumor in Snoog, and I love this, that with Ben Johnson there, Ashton Junty's, they want to take him as their Jahmyr Gibbs. You get him at pick 10, and DeAndre Swift is now, who, let's be honest, DeAndre Swift is coming from Detroit, where he had an absolutely souring situation. I think he's going to be in the doghouse. I'm selling DeAndre Swift everywhere, so I love this one, Andrew.
Ben Johnson coached him when he got absolutely vultured by Jamal Williams for 20 touchdowns in that year. So I think DeAndre Swift will be better than he was this year. If they don't bring in someone, he's going to be good. That's just a fact. But
they will.
I can promise you, they bring someone in, whether it's Ashton Junty or whether it's a big bruising goal line guy like Amarian Hampton, Caleb Johnson, maybe even a Quinshad Judkins on day 2. That's another thing that I could see them really do and beef up that offensive line with that 10th overall pick. But I love how Dad really talked about that Ramondre Stevenson breakdown move. I'm smashing the 111 there because when a new coaching regime comes in, they want their guys. Mike Vrabel, tough smash mouth football player. He sees Drake May. He wants to build that offensive lineup, get him weapons, surround him with talent, build the run game. Ramondre Stevenson's not the guy. I mean, he's a guy, he's 6'1", 235, and plays like a cupcake. He doesn't use pad level. He has no power. He's not the same Ramondre Stevenson as he used to be. He's more of that elusive, bigger back. They're going to go get a guy that is ready to run through your face, tenacious downhill runner. As a Pats fan, I hope it's Quinshad Judkins on day 2. I think he'd be a perfect fit there with Vrabel and Drake May in an offense where he can do it all, run through your face, tenacious downhill runner. So I think Ramondre, Swift, Tyrone Tracy, all those type of guys are sells because they're not good. And there's a very good class coming with about 12 guys that would be better than them from the get. So that's how you got to look at this. Get all these little mid-tier running backs off your rosters because you could always buy them back after the NFL draft. Just wait. I don't want to own anybody that's outside of Dad and I's foundational top 12 in the running back landscape right now because I really do think that there's going to be some situations that get bombed.
Yeah, for sure. So moving on here to the next trade from Jack Alper, also here from the Patreon. So one side's going to be a 26 first, a late 27 first, and a 26 third for JJ McCarthy in the 110. Which side are we smashing here, Dad?
So this one's tough for me because, I told him I don't think we need to have the 110. If that was like 204, I feel fine. But I think JJ McCarthy is going to rise in value. I think there's a good point that even the day that Sam Darnold either gets signed and traded or, even if he doesn't, right now McCarthy's holding around that 110 value already. So you have two 110s for a late. If this is like, I have a player, I have a guy I'm going to draft for two future lates, the 26th third doesn't do it for me. So if I'm trading McCarthy like he's trying to do in this situation, I need the pair of firsts from McCarthy in a second because I think JJ McCarthy is going to rise in value.
Yeah, I have to agree with Dad here. I think JJ McCarthy is going to gain value without even playing a snap. As soon as the Vikings announce he's the starting quarterback and they have a stud young running back in the draft coming in and they built up maybe that offensive line, replace Cam Robinson, who's a free agent, then people are going to start saying, well, J.J. McCarthy has Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, maybe Caleb Johnson or one of these guys. Then his value is going to start. He's going to probably be worth too late first before he even plays a damn snap because that's how people are. They're overreactionary in the dynasty space. So to me, I'm getting the 110 to do like what Dad said earlier on in the show is move up a draft class for two late projected firsts and get a starting quarterback, potential franchise guy for a very good offensive-minded head coach in Kevin O'Connell and a great offensive scheme.
Yeah, Brock, I mean, right now, I think J.J. McCarthy is better than Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders is going 104 in most drafts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, saying McCarthy's worth the 110 really doesn't quite add up. I mean, what do you see? Snoog and I have talked extensively about what we see from the Vikings situation, but the Darnold versus McCarthy kind of quick. Hit me what you think. I mean, to me, I think you're drafting two quarterbacks that are both going to be starters just in different areas next year. But what do you think?
Yeah, if we're just looking at the Vikings specifically, I'm personally not going out and buying JJ McCarthy. I want to wait to see what happens, honestly, with Sam Darnold. But if it's the game, if you wait too late, you're going to have to pay up for it. So if you're getting the first swap in there and you're getting McCarthy, the third means nothing for a first next year for a guy that's going to be a starter, just got top 12 draft capital, tied to Kevin O'Connell, who just got extended as well. Then I'm going to take JJ McCarthy. But again, it's tough right now to go ahead and have that conviction and buy him because of the year Darnold did have. Ended the year with two poor performances. But say he goes to the Raiders, like I've seen even rumors, he goes to the Raiders. Now what's JJ McCarthy worth? He's probably worth what, a mid and a late first or two first if he goes out there and has a couple top 12 weeks just to start off the year. So it's tough in these situations off the injury, but I do like this deal. All right. And trade number 11 coming from Jordan Cunningham, also from the Patreon. So we got a couple dual quarterbacks here on both sides. So it's going to be Caleb Williams and Michael Penix and DJ Moore. Other side's going to be Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Devon Achane, and it's going to be 4-point passing.
I am smashing Caleb here. Like Achane's one of my biggest sells. Russ might not have a job next year, and Kyler's depreciating. So it's Caleb over Russ, Caleb over Kyler, Penix, and Moore considerably over Achane, and Russ is just kind of a throw in here.
Yeah, I agree with Dad here, especially because I'm getting that Caleb Williams, DJ Moore stack with Ben Johnson joining the Chicago Bears. You want to talk about creativity, versatility in an offensive scheme. DJ Moore brings that, and he's going to be a big fan of Ben Johnson, so I'm excited for that matchup. I have a ton of DJ Moore shares that I was trying to fight for my life, getting them off my roster, and then Ben Johnson news comes, and everyone's trying to come buy him off me, and I'm literally like middle finger to the sky, like, let's go. You ain't getting them now. But, I mean, I'm doing this, and I'm taking Michael Penix and flipping him for a 27 first and a 27 second. Like, that simple, and it's a no-brainer move.
So we have a bunch here that we're going to do quick hitter. If you guys have not checked this out yet, Fantasy Football Discord via Patreon. Patreon is this show where you pay. Patreon.com/smash accept. Just another testimonial here from Connor. It's crazy Connor. He said, hey, I just did this mostly to support y'all. You helped me on Twitter last season, helped me get my third ring in my main league and have a lot of success. Then I jumped in here, and now I'm going to get in more paid leagues. So the guy, he takes the Twitter advice. He jumps in here. He wins his league yet again. And now he's like, damn, I got Dad and Snoog on my side. Let's go win some more money. So now he's jumping into paid leagues. So, Brock, let's do these quick hitter here. Jump in, either Snoog or I, and we'll try to hit as many as we can because we want to help guys out.
Let's do it. So which side in a super flex coming from BH? We got Mahomes on one side. Other side is going to be Bryce Young, the 104, and the 207. Which side, Snoog?
Mahomes smash. Breaking my phone, smashing this.
Yeah.
Still uncertainty with Bryce Young. I mean, I'm a believer in his talent. I never wanted to give up on him, even though he did have like the worst rookie quarterback season ever. Dave Canales is a QB guru, head coach. They're probably going to bring in some weapons, maybe Ted McMillan at the 8th overall pick. Spend a bunch of money. They have good cap. They're going to build around Bryce Young. Bryce Young doesn't have like a top 10 ceiling, but I think he could be like a top 15 to top 18 guy consistently to me. But you need to give me more. It'd have to be another first year for me to take
107.
Bryce, because
104, 107.
Yeah, something like that. Or like a random 27 first or 26 first.
Mhm.
But
Yep. From Brandon Kowalski, he said he traded Breece Hall, Cortland Sutton, and a 27 second for JJ McCarthy and an early 26 first. What do we think about this one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the early 26 first side because I'm assuming he's rebuilding here. Because I mean, I think the early 26 first and McCarthy are about a first over where Breece is, and I'm not paying a first for Sutton and a random 27 second.
I take JJ.
Yeah. From John Wagner, we got Amon-Ra and Aaron Jones for the 103, 303, and Ricky Pearsall.
Someone sent me this in the Discord after they did this, and I was hurting for him. Or this was actually through Twitter. He sent me this through Twitter, and it's Amon-Ra 10 times out of 10 here.
It's like, Amon-Ra alone.
Yeah, like Amon-Ra alone to me. I think it's off by another first, so I think that there could have been more value added in there. But, I mean, if Ricky Pearsall somehow ends up being some top 20 dynasty wide receiver, then maybe you can gain a bunch of value back there, but I don't love it.
Next trade we got from Austin Mahoney. This is going to be a 12-team super flex tight end premium. I don't think it matters here for this trade specifically, but he said he just traded the 105 for Breece Hall. What do we think, Dad?
Yo, smash that, man. I'm buying Breece Hall at the 105,
Everywhere.
106. I mean, as much as I love the running backs that could fall to 5 and 6, we keep seeing them in good landing spots. If Judkins and Johnson and Henderson don't get the landing spots we want, and those go to Sampson, Scatterbo, and other guys, we're like, now you're just standing here with your junk in your hands. You know, you get Breece Hall at the 105, and now it's like, dude, we've seen Breece Hall be the RB2 overall. You know, and last year, Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone. I think we get another guy. If you could do it with Zach Wilson, it's going to happen again in your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm smashing Breece Hall's side there.
All right. Next one from Justin Tech. He said, I have the 104 in my one quarterback PPR, start 9, 10-team league. Should I trade it and my 26 and 27 first for Neighbors?
Nope.
I'm super stacked, but he'd start over DK and Waddle for me. So essentially it's 104, a 26, and a 27 first. 3 firsts, 4 Neighbors, 1 quarterback league. Snoog shaking his head. Dad, which side are you taking here?
I'm smashing it. Snoog, we're looking at it's a 10-team. So it's 1 quarterback. So he says he's super stacked. So I'm assuming he's got the quarterback out of the way. So we're talking the 104 and 1 quarterback league. So that's Caleb Johnson. Now we're talking about a late 26 first and a late 27 first to get Malik Neighbors. I'm assuming his team is loaded because he's talking about, he's already got DK and Waddle on the bench. If you start 9 in a 1 quarterback league, that is a very shallow format in both start players and in teams. And Malik Neighbors is like, you're moving all the way up to the 104 is probably round 4, where Malik Neighbors is a top 5 to 8 pick. I'm assuming he's completely stacked without more context there. If this is super flex, I'll take the 104.
I saw DK and Waddle, and I was like, this team ain't stacked. if they're in your starting lineup, that's not a stacked team. If you're starting them. So
Yang said, and he thank you for being in the super chat. He goes, huge fan of the channel, by the way, guys. Just discovered you guys. Y'all putting up quality rookie content a step before the rest of the industry. You guys know ball. I love that. I love those kind of comments because we are grinding on YouTube. You know, Snoog and I are putting in tons of hours trying to bring you content. Brock is putting together some masterful edits and the way you guys are putting it together. And we love all the support. So Brock, back to you.
Yep, this one's coming from Michael Andrucci. Hope I didn't butcher that, Michael. Appreciate the message here. Got one side with Amon-Ra. A lot of Amon-Ra trades here, I guess. Other side's going to be JT and a 27 first. What do you think, Snoog?
I think I gotta lean Amon-Ra slightly here still, just because foundational asset, top 5 dynasty wide receiver. I feel like you could just do more with that versus a running back that did have a big bounce back year. A guy that I actually like to buy right now, but a random first. I don't know if it's late, projected early, whatever it is. I'm just assuming mid to late because I usually just assume every first is mid to late unless they say early. So I'm going to go with Amon-Ra here. But if that was like a projected top 3 to 4 first, I would take the JT side.
And that's what I always say on Twitter, right? I get this kind of question. I say late Amon-Ra, mid, even, early Taylor. You got to know where it's at, and if you think it's mid to early, then you take a shot at this, right? Because in the 27 class, if this ends up being Smith or you end up getting one of these
Ryan
beasts,
Williams or someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's a great question.
All right. We got a message here from Michael Sampson Bellew. He said, what's the strength of the 25 Dynasty first round class?
And the 26
and
what he wants to know.
Potential 26, 1 quarterback first round for next year.
Yeah, I think both running back classes are pretty stacked, to be honest with you. The 2026 got Katron Allen, Nick Singleton back. Darius Taylor for Minnesota is really good there. And Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. Some other guys kind of rising up boards. If Arch Manning does declare, that's a guy. Nico from Tennessee, I can't even say his last name. Iowa, whatever. Some good options there at quarterback there in the 26 class. If it's Arch and he declares, he's the 101, maybe not one quarterback, but in super flex. So if that puts things into perspective for you. But this year it's the running backs and the tight ends. And dare I say wide receivers in the top 3, because I really do think Tet, Emeka Egbuka, and Luther Burden, and maybe if Travis Hunter plays full-time wide receiver, you got 4 top 20 to top 24 dynasty wide receivers right there. I don't care about the depth of it because we have a shit ton of running backs. So that's what I care about. But this year is tight ends or running backs. Loaded. Tight end week is going to be very fun this upcoming week. And we just did a whole running back week with dynasty rankings and rookie tiers to kind of help you get an idea of that. Things are changing constantly. Players are declaring. Players are going back to school. We're diving deeper into our film analysis, into our production profiles and stuff like that to kind of keep updating our rankings and tiers. But you can get all that in the Fantasy Football Discord like Dad just posted here below, patreon.com/smashaccept. I'm updating my rookie rankings constantly, but definitely hammer away at these running backs this year and take advantage of the rookie wide receiver value.
And make sure you guys follow BrocDynasty on Twitter. He's been putting out, amazing edits, taking care of things here at Smash Accept. Brock, this was fun. I think we need to start making this a every Wednesday or every Tuesday kind of thing in the PM, because you guys really came out for this.
Yeah, no, this was fun, especially even hearing both of your guys' takes on a few things. And I honestly like when you guys disagree a little bit more, because that's just the best part about Dynasty to me. It's why people make trades. If everyone agreed on everything, no trades would get done. Someone has to think differently. Someone has to be opposed to your viewpoint. So really fun hearing you guys chop it up here as well.
It was fun disagreeing, to be honest, because a lot of people say you and Snoog are like kumbaya. We think so much alike on 99% of things, but it's just like those little tweaks here and there are what makes the difference. That's why in the Discord, the coolest thing is if you go in Snoog's room, they're different guys that are in my room, because some guys trust Snoog, some guys trust me. They pin us against each other. They're talking shop in their own areas, and that's really what we created this Discord to be, is a community where guys actually care about your fantasy team, because your girlfriend doesn't, your wife doesn't, and neither do your coworkers. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.